Welcome to part 1 of 2 on carving a big mouth bass on leather. Part 2 will be followed by a program on coloring the fish as well. For this project, I have chosen good quality 8 to 9 ounce vegetable tanned cowhide. I will dampen it thoroughly, both grain side and flesh side, because I want the water to go completely through the leather. Then we will set it aside and allow it to dry until it starts to return to its natural color. I have a practice of always taping my pattern after I have traced it onto tracing film and tape the leather to the marble, and now I can start my tracing. I have waited until it returned to its natural color. Now, if the moisture content is right, you won't need to press real deep when you do your tracing. Just hard enough so that you can see it. Accuracy is very important. Being a figure, if we get off the lines, then our piece won't look like it should look. Now, it's important to lift your pattern from time to time and check it to make sure that you have gotten all of your lines. For this project, I have chosen a swivel knife with a 3/8 inch barrel and a 1/4 inch angle blade. I like the ceramic blades, but even though they're ceramic, they still need to be stropped. I'm stropping on a piece of cardboard with white jeweler's rouge. Now, the general rule for figure carving is to cut and bevel foremost objects first. Now, since we really only have one object here, I'm still going to follow the rule and cut the foremost lines. So I'm cutting, as you'll notice, around the mouth, and then I will next cut the gills and work my way from the inside to the outside of the fish, cutting about halfway through the leather, making sure that I cut exactly on my lines, because like with the tracing, the swivel knife cutting accuracy is very important. Keep in mind, we are only cutting the solid lines. The dotted lines on the pattern are for beveling only. Cut only the solid lines. The eye is very important. You want to cut rather deep and make sure that you stay on the lines and keep the eyeball round. And this is what your piece should look like after we have done the swivel knife cutting. For stamping, I have selected 3 checkered bevelers in 3 different sizes, a pointed beveler with vertical lines on it, and we have selected 3 smooth figure carving bevelers, a mule's foot to do the scales, 4 figure carving matting tools, 2 background tools, and a modeling tool with the spoons on either end that have points. We will start our beveling as we did with the swivel knife cutting. We will bevel the foremost objects first. In this case, I'm doing the skin ridge around the opening of the mouth, and I'm doing it quite lightly, as you can see. As we get down near the bottom, we do it a little heavier. And then we'll go on to the gills. Please notice that I am beveling quite deeply into the swivel knife cut, and then I will tip the tool backwards and sort of mat away from the gill opening to tilting it backwards so that we don't leave the leading edge tool marks. And I'm doing the same thing on the second gill, and I want to reiterate that once we get the initial beveling, then we will tip it back and slowly taper it off so we get a natural look and we don't have the back edge of the beveling line showing. We will continue the lower parts of the gills in the same way. As we do the lower part of the mouth, you'll notice there's a skin ridge where we bevel only, and then we do some other folds as well. I'm now using a smaller, smooth figure carving beveler to bevel the lines of the detail and underneath the gill, or the gills. And since it's a smaller tool, I don't have to hit near as hard. Now we will come back later and we will smooth out and taper off the edges of those particular bevels with a larger tool. Now to get this fin to stand out, we will use this same figure carving beveler to go around it. And after we get around it, then we will do the same thing. We will taper off and mat away. This matting with the figure carving beveler is very important to get a realistic look. Note now I'm doing the lower fins, but I'm only doing the top half. This fin extends beyond the outer perimeter of the fish, and we will bevel everything inside the fish with the smooth beveler, and then as we come around to the outside of the fish, we will be using a checkered beveler. Now notice on these fins up here, I'm still using the smooth tool and also the fold in the fish at the bottom where he's coming out of the water and twisting. Now you notice I have dotted lines there. I will bevel these. This is basically to establish a platform or some other detail that we will add to the tail fin. Here again, we are matting away from the original bevel. Now, around the outer perimeter of the fish, we'll use a checkered beveler. And as usual, I'll start with the larger one first, and we will bevel completely around the outside of the fish, including the part of the fin that extends beyond the body of the fish. Later on, we will come back and we will mat around the outside of the fish, but we'll do it with the checkered bevelers, or the checkered matting tools. Now inside the mouth, I'm also using a checkered beveler because we want a lot of color in there, so we'll mat this down with the checker tools, which will give us more texture in there, and the opening of the mouth will look more realistic. Notice now as we do this beveling, our fish begins to stand off from the background. Carefully beveling the lines on that top fin. I'm now using a smaller checker beveler to create spines in the top fin. Beveling very lightly to just outline the spines. I'm using a smaller beveler for these inside curves where the other one is a little too wide. Now I will use the smallest of the bevelers to bevel these sharp curves on the top of the fin that's on top of the bass. Now we're going to switch to a modeling tool. We'll use the modeling tool to do a lot of cleanup and also some light beveling and detailing. As you can see around the gills, I'm cleaning up some of the tool marks, putting a little detail on that fin, cleaning up more beveling, and smoothing out some. I'm putting a skin ridge around the eye now with the modeling tool, not real deep. And I'm also using the modeling tool to bevel inside the eye. All we're doing is basically opening up the cut and rounding the eyeball. Don't press too deep or you'll have a fish that looks like it's blind. Just lightly bevel and round. A little bit of detail in the eyeball. Hope you are having a good time so far. Part 2 will show you how to finish carving the fish.